Okay, good evening, everyone. Hi, April. I am so glad to be here tonight because I have so much enthusiasm and I'm so excited about some new information that I found that's going to do nothing but enhance what you're going to learn tonight about the immune system. So we're going to just jump right in with a healthy immune system. I'm Cristina Campbell, and what you're going to learn tonight is the importance of a healthy immune system.
Christina, we have the screen you're wanting us to see, and we're also seeing the next slide smaller on the right.
I wonder why.
I don't know.
Hmm. Let me stop it. And let me try that again. Screen one. You
There
see?
you go. That's usual. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. So again, I'm very excited because I'm going to enhance what I normally teach in the area of immune system. I've just learned so much, and I just feel like it's really important to share that. Uh, what part immunity plays in our overall health, and this comes in so timely with what I'm going to talk about as far as the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. And I posted a YouTube link that I'm going to highly encourage everyone watch. The credentials of this immunologist, this vaccine developer, are over the top. So I really want you to copy that YouTube link and watch it. It's a 40-minute YouTube, 40 minutes plus, but I think that it bears listening to in your spare time. So we're also going to talk about what organs are part of the immune system, and I think you'll be surprised at at um, what is involved there, what function the cell plays in the immune system process, and this is where I get into how viruses are attacked by the natural immune system that God gave us, and how the COVID virus destroys the human body's ability to attack variations of that virus. And a lot of this is coming again from Bruce Lipton's book, The Biology of, I think it's the Brain. The Biology of the Brain. No, of Belief, excuse me. The Biology of Belief. Also, we're going to talk about some disorders of a compromised immune system and how to support the immune system. Okay, so the immune system. This is the biological structure and the processes within our bodies that protect us against disease. They were put in there at the very beginning of our conception, and they stay with us until we're gone. Sorry, I just keep letting people in. Okay. We're going to talk about how the immune system actually kills pathogens and tumor cells. We're going to talk about specific proteins, antigens, and cells that kill or that encapsulate and destroy or poison those foreign objects that come into our bodies. They're able to detect a wide variety of agents, from viruses to parasitic worms. The immune system distinguishes the body's own healthy cells, just like essential oils. That's what's really neat about all this. And tissues in order to function properly. The immune system has a complicated detection system as pathogens can evolve quickly. And we're finding this in the myriads, the thousands of variants in the COVID virus. It also is able to adapt and avoid these pathogens, just like viruses and bacteria can adapt. And that's scary because, you know, we call these Time magazine called it, this was years ago, called it the development of the, they're like monster bacteria. And these were the bacteria that came out of that. MRSA was one of them. SARS virus was one of them.
Superbugs?
Superbugs, yeah. Monster bugs, superbugs. Thank you, April. And it's interesting because, you know, our body systems, our God-given system, is able to keep up with these variants if we provide it the things that it needs. And we're going to get into detail on what those things are. So let's talk about the organs and glands and systems of the body that make up this immune system. And, you know, this is a pretty high level. But not everybody wants to get into the weeds in this stuff like I do. So I'm just going to do the best I can to kind of glaze over and let you understand that the bone marrow is where all cells of the human immune system are formed. We're specifically talking about leukocytes and lymphocytes. These are white blood cells that include NK cells. NK stands for natural killer cells. And we're going to talk about how those natural killer cells are being destroyed by these vaccines, giving us an open door to variant viral infections that only time will tell and show the course of destruction. The bone marrow is also responsible for important, well, here they are, the natural killer cells, the immature thymocytes or T cells, which need to go into the thymus in order to mature. We'll talk about that. And the B cells and the granulocytes. All of these are our natural immune system. Our bodies were made to combat the things that come in our world. We're going to talk about the fact, well, another thing that the bone marrow does is it produces red blood cells and platelets, as does the spleen. The thymus gland, that's located in the upper chest area, produces scores of lymphocytes during childhood. And immature cells produced at the bone marrow migrate to mature there. That's what I was saying. The thymus gland only allows the beneficial T cells to be released into the bloodstream. Once they're mature, then they go into the bloodstream, and this is our, these are our troops. These are our soldiers. These are the war fighters. And I will tell you that this link that I gave in the chat, and I want to put everybody's attention on this link. If you came in late, you may not see it. I'm going to repost it right now. This is a developer of vaccines talking about the dangers of mass vaccination. This is not conspiracy theory. I am not promoting conspiracy theory here tonight. So I want you to listen to that. It's a 40-minute YouTube video, and I think that we need to take responsibility and understand the detrimental effects that we're going to see from these vaccines. The thymus gland also eliminates T cells that evoke a detrimental autoimmune response. So our bodies know what to do. Why don't we believe that? Why are we so quick to look for something synthetic to pump into our bodies that is ultimately going to create havoc in this natural environment? We need to use some common sense. Okay, so I was talking about the spleen. This is found under the left rib cage near the left side. And it holds a reservoir of blood and platelets. And it's actually a kind of a plant, you know, like a plant that destroys old blood cells and functions as a lymph gland to filter the blood. So our lymph filters the blood, our liver filters the blood, our kidneys filter the blood, and so does our spleen. So let's look at the lymph nodes. They filter the interstitial fluid that's present between the cells of the human body, and they get out bacteria and viruses. That's why it's important to keep the lymphatic system healthy as well as the bone marrow. And this is situated throughout the entire lymphatic system. You're going to, you know, when we get a cold or a sore throat or whatever, we'll feel sometimes that our lymph glands are swollen. So that's around, you know, underneath your ear, right, your neck area. But we also have lymph glands that can get swollen under our arms or, you know, in our groin area. They are throughout our entire body. They go from the top of the head to the tip of the toes. And it's important that we keep that lymph moving. One of the best ways to do that is, do you know what a little rebounder is? A little, it's like a little mini trampoline. Just jumping on that action gets your lymph moving. It's wonderful. So walking would do that as well, but not as effectively. I have a rebounder downstairs. It's great for getting that lymph moving. The lymph nodes then act as immunologic filters and drains lymph from most of the body's tissue, filtering out antigens before allowing the lymph to return to circulation. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But another thing that you can do to stimulate lymph and to help it to be clean is to use our deodorants, because our oils have a way of supporting the lymph. And a couple of the deodorants that we've used in the past are Meadow Mist and Mountain Mint. Mountain Mint being my favorite. In fact, when they told me they were going to discontinue it, I bought 10 of them because I didn't want to run out. And then thank goodness, I guess because there was such a run on them from people like me, they didn't discontinue it. But I do know that Meadow Mist has been out of stock for a very long time, and I think that they may be discontinuing that. But they also have Valor and some of the new deodorants, like I think one of them is Cinnamint, and then there is another one. But citrus something, Citrigard. Yeah, Citrigard. And people seem to like them. I just have my favorite that I've been using for all these years, and I love, love, love Mountain Mint. And what I have found over the years by keeping my body healthy is that I really don't need deodorant. I don't have that body odor that, and I think it's because, I cleanse a lot. I drink a lot of water. I mean, if you're doing everything right, we shouldn't smell bad. Again, we're fearfully and wonderfully made. God didn't make us to smell bad. But I do use the deodorant just to support my lymphatic system. And I don't use it every day. I love the smell of it. So just think about those things, that we're using these things to support. We should not be looking at our products to fix everything. We should be fixing it. We should be taking responsibility. And by using things as a lifestyle, we are always fixing in present moment, right? We're always fixing in present moment. Other lymphatic support can be ledum and grapefruit. So that's important, especially if ledum shows up in your Zyto. You want to make sure that you get ledum, because that's going to help your liver, and it's going to help lymph. Other immune system organs are the large and small intestine, and I'm sure that you've heard that the gut is the seat of the immune system. I don't go to that degree to say that is the seat or that is the number one, but I do believe that it all plays a part, and it is very important. The large and small intestine house over 700 species of bacteria that perform a variety of functions. And what do? We feed it sugar. The very worst thing you could possibly do to your immune system. I remember when my kids were growing up, we were vegan, and we lived way up north, Minnesota, and we grew all our own food, and we ran 3 health food stores and lunch encounters, vegan lunch encounters with that. And I remember learning way back then, and I'm talking almost 50 years ago now, because I was in my early 20s. I learned that if you get sick, the worst thing you can do is put sugar in the body, because it will compromise the healing process. And I couldn't understand, well then why do people, if you've got an upset stomach, if you've got a digestive issue or a bug, why do people give people 7-Up? That's sugar water. That's the worst thing you can do. Pure water without sugar, that's the best thing you can do. Adding some wild drops with electrolytes, which we didn't have back in the day, is the best thing you can do. So, yeah, just know that sugar destroys the human body. I also learned many years ago that if you want to ruin the engine of a car, pour a 5-pound bag of sugar in the gas tank. Have you ever heard that? You can just destroy the engine of a car. Pour a 5-pound bag of sugar in. Don't do that. I never did that. I'm just saying that it will destroy the engine of a car. If you put sugar in this human body that doesn't come naturally in the foods that God gave us, you are going to destroy this car, this human machinery. So sometimes you might think that I go way far left or way far right, but I'm doing it for a reason. Because we are so way far left and so way far right when it comes to our emotional mind, our mental mind, our physical body, our spiritual understanding. And we're here to gently love each other into knowledge and understanding. That's the only reason we're here, is to serve one another, is to help one another. Okay, so it also, the immune system, or the large and small intestine, produces antibodies that are effective against pathogens, preventing infection or invasion. And it produces enzymes to detoxify antigens and xenobiotics, chemicals, such as drugs, and also endocrine disruptors, which come from chemicals, chemical cleaners. Bounce dryer sheets are the worst. Tide Gain, all of those endocrine disrupting laundry soaps are the worst. And so our immune system has to work overtime, constantly working overtime, trying to get rid of the sugar, trying to get rid of the chemicals, trying to get rid of the bad thoughts that's causing a stress on the immune system. I read the other day that, people are constantly saying how stressed out they are. There's just so much stress in the world. The fact of the matter is that stress does not come from outside of you. That stress comes from inside. We cause the stress. We are responsible for how we perceive what may be happening to us, and then we create the stress from how we perceive it. Another good analogy or example of that is, have you ever heard anybody say, "Oh, he makes me so mad"? Many, many years ago, when Elizabeth was born, so it was 45 years ago, I learned that no one can make you fill in the blank. Mad, sad, stressed. It's just that it's human nature that we want to blame somebody else for what's happening to us. So one of the things that you need to understand is that when we put our bodies under stress, when we take responsibility, when we put our bodies under stress, then we have to create more enzymes to detoxify that stress so that our body can stay in homeostasis, in balance. So just know that the large and small intestine is the home to health-enhancing friendly bacteria, promoting immune system health. The appendix is also an immune system organ. If you still have an appendix, this contains an abundance of infection-fighting lymphoid cells. This is something our body needs. Back in the day, they would take out the appendix in a heartbeat. And the reason that they had to take it out was because it was infected. And how did it get infected? Did it happen from outside, or did it happen from something we put inside? You figure that out, because I will tell you, you have the answer to that inside. You've been taught here what causes disease. It also is the housing for the protection of bacteria in the gut. And it's a haven for useful bacteria. When we need that healthful bacteria, the appendix gives it to us. It's kind of like a on-the-side storehouse. It helps recovery from illness, providing a safe house for beneficial bacteria. And then we also have Peyer's patches. And Peyer's patches you may not be familiar with at all. These are lymphoid tissue that are usually found in the lowest portion of the small intestine, and they help facilitate immune response as well. The tonsils and the adenoids, another thing that back in the day they would take out in a heartbeat because they didn't understand the part they had to play. And why did they have to take them out? Because they got infected. Why did they get infected? Same reason the appendix get infected. It's what we put in our mouths. It's all the sugar. Sugar is probably the biggest culprit of anything because it causes atherosclerosis and arteriosclerosis. It causes the cholesterol to adhere to the arteries instead of feeding the brain. So what do? They give us a cholesterol-lowering medication which lends to Alzheimer's and dementia. We need fat for the brain. The body makes cholesterol for a reason. The liver makes cholesterol. So they take out these lumpy clusters of spongy tissue that help protect the children from infection. So as parents, we need to be responsible for keeping those children as healthy as we possibly can by eliminating as many chemicals, as many endocrine disruptors. You know, I've been teaching this for 20 years plus, and I will tell you that it has not been as important then as it is today. It is more important today that you understand what I'm saying about these endocrine disruptors, these xenobiotics, these pharmaceutical drugs, this sugar, the lack of water. It is far more important that we understand today, because the tide could be turning, especially with this mass vaccination, to cause a mass decimation of health. We need to be the prophets of today. We need to stand on the rooftops and tell everyone what is right, what is truth. This is important. Okay, so the tonsils and the adenoids also contain cells that make antibodies to help your body fight infection. That's really important. Especially important infection fighters for babies and children. That's why they're so active then. And adenoids, just from the nature of the way that God made them, they actually shrink after about the age of 5. You can't see your adenoids anymore. By the time you're a teenager, they've completely disappeared. They've been put in place for those little years. Those little years to protect that infant from infection. Okay, there are 2 types of immunity. One of them is an innate or non-specific immunity. When you listen to that YouTube that I posted out there, you will learn specifically about non-specific immunity. What is being injected in humans through mass vaccination is a specific immunity, which is so strong that it knocks out the non-specific immunity in the human body. That immunity cannot take effect. And the progenitors of vaccines are speaking in this, and he is explaining to you what is happening, why your body will no longer be able to fight other diseases, other viruses, other strains of bacteria, because of these specific immune cells that have been injected in your body. If you have not gotten the vaccine yet, do not think for one moment more that it would be a right choice to do so. I am lovingly telling you that this is not God's plan for your body. So in these innate or non-specific immune cells, we have the phagocytes and the NK cells. And I really, really want to talk to the NK cells as we get into how they work when I show you the picture of the cell, because we want to know, how do I bolster or boost my NK cells, my natural killer cells that are going to kill naturally occurring cancer cells. Everybody has cancer cells in their body. It just depends on your immunity as to whether or not you're fighting them off. And natural killer cells encapsulate or digest or ingest and poison bacterias and viruses. Our bodies were made to do that. And then there are specific immunities, which are lymphocytes, but the specific immunity can also be in the form of a vaccine. Specific immunity recognizes specific alien or hostile pathogens. In this case, it's looking at one strain of COVID virus. If we had to have a vaccination for the hundreds and now thousands of variants, there are hundreds and thousands of variants of the COVID virus right now. You're hearing about it on the news. The multiple variants, the variations of this virus. If you were to get a specific immunity, you would have to have hundreds of shots, thousands of different strains of virus. That's impossible. Okay, so these specific immunities, this specific immunity looks at a specific type of virus or bacteria. And so the COVID vaccine is looking at only one variant of the COVID virus. Does that make sense? It's only looking for one variant. And it is so strong that it is knocking out the body's natural killer cells, the non-specific. So when something non-specific comes in, how are you going to combat it? And that's what this video, this YouTube video, is going to explain to you in detail. These two types of cells have limited functions. They guard us, they protect us, and they usher specific pathogens out of our bodies. Okay, there are two types of lymphocyte cells. There are the B cells. They're produced in the bone marrow, and they're dispatched through the body, and they congregate in the nodes of the lymphatic system. So this is a good thing. You have got warriors in the lymphatic system if you're making B cells, and lots of them. And then you have T cells. These two are produced in the bone marrow, and they're sent into the thymus gland where they're going to grow up. They're going to mature. They're going to be trained in combat because they have a war to fight. And the beauty of this is that Bruce Lipton, PhD, Dr. Bruce Lipton, in the Biology of Belief, please get the book, get the audio. It is fascinating if you want to learn more on exactly what I'm talking about how the body deploys and how the cell functions. And he actually gets into the history, in the beginning of the book, he gets into the history of immunology and quantum physics and how we have shifted between, Newton and Einstein and Max Planck and all of these scientists who have continued to study. And the study of science is the study of God. God put all these planets in motion. Copernicus just figured it out, some of it out, not all of it. So these two lymphocyte cells are the leaders of our immune system, and they learn, they adapt, and they remember. And so do bacteria, and so do viruses. And the COVID virus is learning, and it's learning very quickly to adapt. And that's what causes the variants. They're adapting. They're becoming superbugs. And thank you so much for that, April. I couldn't remember the word. They're becoming superbugs, just like MRSA, just like SARS, just like, there's many of them that are superbugs. And we, unbeknownst to us, contributed to superbugs immensely about 20 years ago when we were rampantly using antibacterial soaps. Antibacterial hand soap, antibacterial dish soap. We all have to take responsibility because we were duped. We were told you need to sterilize everything, causing our bodies not to be able to create its own antibodies and its own defense mechanism. We didn't give it a chance. You can sterilize a child to the point where it can't fight bacteria and viruses. You know, back in the day, we were thrown out in the dirt and told to play. And part of that got in us. And we didn't get sick. And we used to get the chicken pox and the measles and the mumps. And we got stronger for it because our body's natural immunity began to create what it needed to overcome the bad guy. We created armies against it. And now we don't give these children a chance to fight. We give them vaccinations. We give them antibiotics. We give them all of this stuff that's destroying them. It's destroying their natural immune system, their gut, their, you know, the human body in general. So what can we do to create more healthy natural killer cells? One thing we shouldn't do is get a vaccination. So they'll probably put me in jail for this, right? Because I'm publishing this. You'll have to watch the whole thing. The most important thing, they did studies. They did studies in Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan on people who who commonly engaged in so-called forest bathing. Now, I actually re-looked up this research before this class tonight because I wanted to make sure it was still valid. And sure enough, it's called forest bathing. And all they do is breathe in the aroma, the aromatic molecules that are emitted by plants and trees. And they found that wood plants like spruce and pine and fir, all of the cedar wood, all of the wood oils actually created a rise in the production of NK cells. Now, I will tell you another study that was done, and these are on PubMed. It was proven that the introduction of large amounts of beta carotene also creates more NK cells. There is more beta carotene in Ningxia red than in carrots. There is more vitamin C in Ningxia red than there are in a bag of oranges. And it's important that we give the body a soluble protein so that it can create the protein antigens that we need to fight. And this protein is in Ningxia red, 17% protein by volume. So what can we do to increase our immune system? I'm going to get into the detail, but just off the top, if you just wanted to go now, wood oils, beta carotene, and vitamin C. So we need lots of Ningxia red, lots of northern black spruce, lots of pine, lots of cedar wood, and use it daily. Use it, use it, use it. Take a bath in it. Rub it on the bottom of your feet. Get a massage with those oils. They're incredible. So I'm going to get into some detail now. And Bruce Lipton does a far better job. And so does this vaccination guy, creator of vaccinations. As a matter of fact, the guy on the YouTube he worked for Bill and Melinda Gates on their team who developed the vaccines that they were using in Africa against the Ebola virus. So he knows what he's talking about. He's not against vaccinations. He is against what this particular vaccination is doing and going to do to the human body. Very, very enlightening information. Okay, so I want you to look at this little red, or this little yellow, I guess I'm colorblind tonight, this little yellow circle. And what this is a virus, and it has come into the body. We can call it whatever we want. We can call it COVID-19 if you want to. The virus infects the body, the cells, and it displays viral antigens. So that's what these little sites are that are sticking out from that virus. This blue blob that you see, this is a macrophage. And a macrophage engulfs the virus and displays a viral antigen. See these little viral antigens sticking out from the macrophage. The macrophage says, there's something here, it's an invader, we need to deploy the helper T cells. That's what this orange dot is. This is a helper T cell. The helper T cell activates cytotoxic T and B cells. Remember the T cells that go to the thymus and the B cells that are produced in the bone marrow? This helper T cell activates those mature cells. And a cytotoxic T cell comes into play. The B cells are these little purple things, and the B cells form plasma cells. The plasma cells makes antibodies, and it can only do that if you have protein in your body. All antibodies are protein-based. And Bruce Lipton does a beautiful job of explaining this. So plasma cells make antibodies which bind to the viral antigen. Binds to the viral antigen. Thereby, it actually then, it gives off this like poison. It gives off this killer thing. And it begins to kill the infection. It thereby frees the body from infection. This system of teamwork among the organs of the immune system is simply magnificent. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. Again, if you want to get into this deeper, I want you to look at getting, I know this is backwards, but this is the quantum physics and essential oils and the mind-body connection, how essential oils really work in the body. And I'm going to send one of these to Nancy Carly. If you do not have one of these, I will send it to a couple of you guys if you don't have it. If you have them, I don't want to send it to you because these, I don't even know if you can get these anymore. And don't get this in the mail and then put it aside. Take responsibility and read what Dr. David Stewart talks about, how the essential oils work. They are what is going to help the body to build its immunity. Okay, supporting your immune system with therapeutic essential oils. Some other good books that you might want to look at is The Molecules for Emotions by Candace Pert. And I mentioned Bruce Lipton's book on the biology of belief. One of the greatest blends that we have is Power. And it has some great plant aromatics. It has hyssop, which was used by the children of Israel to protect them from the death angel. Remember, when I talk about the death angel, they didn't have microscopes back then. They didn't know what bacteria and viruses were. They just knew the voice of God, and God said, take a hyssop branch, dip it in the blood of the lamb, and strike the doorpost and the lentils so that the aromatic molecules can protect you from this bacteria or virus that would have taken out their firstborn. God was not saying things just to say them. There was a reason. They just didn't know what that reason was back then. Many times God will ask you to do things and you don't understand why. But I'm here to tell you, you'll figure it out sooner or later. It'll probably be later, but you'll figure it out. This has hyssop and ravensara and clove. The highest antioxidant oil on the planet is clove. It has mountain savory, very highly antiviral, antibacterial. It has frankincense. It has cumin cistus. Many of these are biblical oils. Oregano and Idaho tansy. And here's my little testimony. Whenever I feel a little under the weather, I reach for ImmuPower. I don't use ImmuPower on a daily basis because when I want my army to come out with all its troops because I have got a war to fight, I'm going to choose ImmuPower. I put it at the bottom of my feet and I go to bed. I take a hot bath. All my pores are open. I slather my feet with it. I go to bed, and by the next morning, I'm good to go. That's why you don't see me getting sick. So you can diffuse this. You can put it in your bath water. I put it on the bottom of my open pored feet. There's many places and it is strong. I mean, it's got really oregano. Come on, that's hot. Mountain savory, that's very much like oregano. Clove, oh yeah, these are hot oils. So if you've got sensitive skin, or you're going to apply it in places other than the bottom of your feet, then I recommend that you dilute it. Here's another testimonial from Sonia Simpson. She says, I was about 2.25 years past chemo from colon cancer. The chemo was for 6 months. Okay, we need to mute. Thank you. The chemo was for 6 months and 1 week on and 3 weeks off. My reaction from the chemo was harsh, and I lost most of my hair, which is unusual, and had terrible mouth sores. I thought it was all over, but about 6 months ago, I had a skin eruption on both of my lower legs and in the front. No itching or other adverse complaints. My oncologist asked me to get checked by a dermatologist, which I did, and we tried some prescribed ointment that did not work. Scrapings did not show spores or mold, so she took a biopsy, and it was negative for cancer or for precancer. I felt that it might be latent chemo reaction. Hard to believe. My liver function tests had been good. I felt intuitively that my immune system might need a boost, so I started applying ImmuPower essential oil twice a day over my liver and on the soles of my feet. Within a week, the sores have abated, and I returned to the dermatologist in 2 weeks. I think she'll be surprised. What happened here? First of all, chemo destroys the immune system. So we need to give the body the ability to start rebuilding itself, and ImmuPower will do that because it's going to create natural killer cells. It's going to create the immunological responses that we need to fight off, whether it's a skin irritation, a cold, a flu, a cancer, whatever. We need to fight it off. And I will tell you, at a minimum, everyone should be drinking lemon in their water every day. How many times have we shared this? Because lemon oil has been proven to increase leukocyte and lymphocyte production in the bone marrow. I've said it 1,000 times, if not more. It increases the production of the very cells that we need to fight off bacteria and viruses. Now, lemon oil, it just seems so benign. How can a little lemon oil be that powerful? Well, God in his wisdom knew. And we are telling you that these oils will change the landscape of your immune system if you would just drink them. Drink in pure water or take it in a capsule. If you have problems with adherence of cholesterol to the inside of the artery, if you have cholesterol buildup, if you have too much cholesterol in your blood, then you should be drinking Ningxia Red every day so that your red blood cells are no longer sticking together. They've proven that Ningxia Red can unstick red blood cells in 10 minutes from drinking 2 ounces. In 10 minutes. And one of the reasons is because it has lemon oil in it. And it has orange oil in it. You should be drinking Ningxia Red every day, and you should be drinking lemon in your water to balance the viscosity of your blood. Then you're going to have healthy blood. And you know what it says in the scriptures? Gary changed his life because of what he read, and it said, and the life is in the blood. And there are many ways to perceive that. The physical body, the spiritual understanding. But he took it to heart. And he started cleaning out his blood by doing a master cleanse. Frankincense is another great one. It boosts the immune system. Diffuse it. Anoint your head every day with frankincense. Anoint your head. You are a king and a queen in the kingdom of God. And kings and queens get anointed. God's
Christina,
anointed, yes.
someone asked in chat, would lime oil do the same as the lemon oil?
The studies were not done on lime oil. There is limonene in lime. 1 bottle of lime oil is not going to last you forever, so get a bottle of lemon as well. Mix it up. Use a drop of lime and a drop of lemon, and now you have 7-Up, right? Without the sugar. There is
How about the citrus fresh?
that has lemon and orange and grapefruit and others. So that's also a very good one. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If it has lemon oil, Thieves has lemon and oil in it. We should be using Thieves all the time, every day, especially with all these viruses attacking people on a daily basis. Here are some immune system VitaFlex points. The thymus is number 1, which is right where this number 1 green arrow is. You can put the oils directly on that area, or what I do, this is just me, I put it all over my feet. I don't want to miss anything. But some people are real specific about things. So there's the thymus, and the spleen is down here on the outside of your foot. Right under the foot, but near the outside. And then we have the small intestine, which is the lower center of the foot. And then we have the appendix, which is near the beginning of the heel on the outside of the foot, near the outside of the foot. And you can see this VitaFlex point chart in the Essential Oils desk reference. Okay, Mountain Savory and oregano were in ImmuPower. So I call ImmuPower the king of immune stimulating oils. But both of these oils, in their own right, are powerful immune stimulants: antibacterial, antiseptic, antiviral, antimicrobial. If you want to help your body create these cells that do what they need to do best, then use these oils. Mountain Savory was actually showed as an anti-HIV-1 oil. Its activity was studied and published. And this was published in 1998. doctors have not put the study into these oils that they deserve. I think we would find, and maybe someday they will, I don't know. But one of the things that you have to understand is that all oils are not created equal. And if they are overheated, their healing constituents are destroyed. So it's just useless. That's why I trust Young Living. A couple of other blends that are very difficult to get a hold of. Egyptian gold. I don't know when it's going to come back. We love Egyptian gold. It's one of our favorite immune stimulating oils, but it is hard to get. So when it comes in, oh, I buy it up. You know, I'll buy 10 bottles because we love Egyptian gold. Exodus 2 goes in and out of stock. So when Exodus 2 comes in, I'm going to buy 3 and 4 bottles so that I have a stash. And oh, by the way, I won't sell it to anyone else. So make sure you get your own. And you can diffuse these and inhale these and, you know, add them to your bath water. We make nose swipe out of these too. And I carry my nose swipe in my pocketbook. Wherever my right here. So in my nose swipe, my little container of nose swipe. Love this stuff. I love the smell of it. I have Exodus 2 and I have Egyptian gold and I have Animal Sense. And we actually had a party here, a DIY party where we made some of this. I made a whole batch, 6 ounces of Animal Sense. And I think I got about 20 of these. And then we gave them away to the people because it's so effective at the gateway of where bacteria and viruses can get in. You want to put it right in your nose. And because I walk all the time and I'm in the fresh air, I want to make sure that that fresh air is clean air and that it doesn't have anything that's going to cause me to get sick in it. So I don't get a cold. I don't get the flu. Thieves is, I don't even need to talk about it. Lemon oil in and of itself has killed typhus in a 0.02% solution, diffusing it. Typhus. These are bacterias. Thieves is one of a kind. And, we happened to learn about it. Gary happened to learn about it by reading a 15th century story about thieves. That during the bubonic plague, which was a pandemic, by the way, they used the oils or the herbs and spices of eucalyptus and lemon and rosemary. And some people say they use peppermint, clove, lemon. And they soaked their clothing and they soaked rags and put them over their faces, and they did not get the bubonic plague. And when they were asked, how is it that you can rob the dead and the dying? They said, we soak our clothes. Our fathers were apothecary owners. They were perfumers for, generations. And we learned this. And they were told to post their recipe in the middle of the town square, and that was the beginning of the end of the bubonic plague. And that is a true story. So when Gary read that, he said, we need this. We need this because we're getting superbugs. We're getting disease and infections. People say, oh, we don't get sick nearly as much as they did during the Dark Ages, during the 15th century. Well, I will tell you, our hygiene is cleaned up quite a bit, don't you think? Yeah, we actually have flush toilets now. That probably helps a whole lot. Bacteria is rampant in, outdoor toilets. But, just saying that we may have cleaned up our hygiene a lot, but we're also doing a lot of things that are detrimental still. And that's why we still succumb to illnesses. A couple of others that are really, really powerful, and both of these are also in ImmuPower, are clove and rosemary. So they're also blood can work as blood thinners, especially clove. So if you are on an anticoagulant or a blood thinner, use oils of lemon and clove with caution, or talk to your doctor about using a natural alternative to a blood thinner. And then that way your body can utilize something that is more adaptive, it's more natural to who God made you to be, instead of pharmaceuticals. And of course, diffuse for immunity, and whatever kind of diffuser you have. The more diffusers you have in the house, the better. If you have one in the living room where you sit and watch TV, you have one at your bedside table. Every night you should be diffusing. I diffuse every single night. Not a night goes by when I don't diffuse. I have water, I have electricity, so I'm going to diffuse. I'm going to encourage you to do the same thing. Get into the habit. Some of the supplements that will support a strong immune system, of course, are ImmuPro. And, this also will help you to sleep. If you have insomnia, there's something out of balance in your body. I might recommend getting a Zyto to maybe pinpoint it a little bit more succinctly. But this actually provides the benefits of natural immune supporting Ningxia wolfberry, another reason to drink Ningxia red. The wolfberry has polysaccharides in it and beta glucan. And these two things have been shown in studies to enhance the immune system's response and to help maintain cholesterol levels that are already within normal range. So keep your cholesterol levels in normal range by drinking Ningxia red, taking lemon oil, every single glass of water, and you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces. And I will tell you that if you stay in the awareness that you and God are partners, that you are walking in universal energy, moment by moment, present time, not thinking about the future and not thinking about the past, walking in the footsteps, God will remind you when you need to drink your water. Be aware that we are children of God 24/7. God will come into you in dreams. The universe will speak to your heart like a friend and a relative that you love to hear from. He will remind you when you should be taking a specific supplement. Ask, what do I need to take to boost my immunity today? Maybe he'll tell you that you need to take inner defense because there's something going on. Inner defense will reinforce systemic defenses, creating unfriendly terrain for bad things like yeast and funguses. It also promotes healthy respiratory function. And it contains potent oils like oregano, thyme, and thieves. And we already know what's in thieves. These are rich in thymol, carvacrol, and eugenol for immune support. If you just Google, what can I do holistically to enhance my immunity, you will come up with a myriad of PubMed studies that talk about what is in the very products that we sell. Who knew? And that's when I tripped on that one with beta carotene. And I went, whoa, we have more beta carotene in Ningxia red than there is in carrots. And that's touted as, if it's orange, it's got lots of beta carotene in it. If it's orange or red, it's got a lot of beta carotene. So inner defense is something that you always need in your medicine chest. Always, always, always. And oh, by the way, then take it because it's there. Take it. Multigreens. I took my multigreens today. I made a smoothie with ground flaxseed and my Sleek protein, and I took my sulfurzyme, and I took my master formula. That was my morning superfoods. Oh, and mangoes is what I had in my smoothie, and water. That's all I had. Ground flaxseed, mangoes, water, and Sleek. I just love the flavor of Sleek. I've mixed it up between Balanced Complete and Sleek. And that, when I get hungry, I don't want bacon and eggs. I don't need all that sodium that's in bacon and nitrates and nitrites. I mean, they're thinking that that's one of the things that caused my grandson's heart attack was the high sodium, high nitrites, high nitrates. He is 33 years old and had a massive heart attack Friday. I know some of you didn't get in on that conversation, but he's now home and they're putting him on a really strict diet, Mediterranean diet, which I highly recommend as well. And of course, we're supporting them with recipes from the author of Clean Eats. And this author's name is Alejandro Junger, Junger. You want a bunch of recipes. And I also have the Clean Eats daily diet plan on PDF that I can send to you if you put it in the chat. Anything that I say, if you put it in the chat, I save the chat and then I read it later. So I'll send it to you. But you know that multigreens, if I had to get rid of every other supplement, honestly, it would be hard to get rid of sulfurzyme. But if I only had 2 supplements that I could have from Young Living, it would be multigreens and sulfurzyme. Because multigreens give me the nutritious chlorophyll that I need. And it helps with the glandular, the nervous system, the circulatory system. And I take 6 a day. It has spirulina, it has alfalfa sprouts, it has barley grass and bee pollen. It has Pacific kelp. All these are high minerals. And I need minerals for cell-to-cell communication. If you want me to remember when I'm teaching, I got to have this stuff. You don't want me to lose my mind. I need all this stuff. It also has lemongrass in it. It has melissa, which is one of the highest antiviral oils. It has lemon, increases leukocyte and lymphocyte production. And it has rosemary in it, which increases immunity. There's not a better supplement. Honestly, there's not a better supplement. Although I love Super B too, but that'd have to be number 3. Because you need this for normal function of the immune response. I do a lot of B vitamins though. For those of you who know me, I'm a big eater of nutritional yeast. Oh my gosh, I love it on so many things. In fact, I was staying at my daughter's the last 2 weeks in Minnesota, and she worked during the day, so I'd have to make myself a little lunch, and she said, well, Mom, I've got some fish in here. And so I said, great. And she has nutritional yeast because I raised my kids on nutritional yeast. And I thought, well, how am I going to cook this fish? She had an air fryer. So I just took that little piece of fish, wasn't very big at all, probably 4 ounces or less, and I breaded it in nothing but nutritional yeast. Now, when you use nutritional yeast, you don't need any salt because it has a natural sodium to it. And I put it in the air fryer, and it was delicious. I said, Sarah, what kind of fish was that? She said, oh, it's mahi-mahi. And I said, I don't even like mahi-mahi because I've always said it's so thick. But this was sweet and moist and full of flavor. And all I did was use B vitamins, which is nutritional yeast is B vitamins that are grown in a it's a yeast that grows in molasses, which gives it a natural sulfur, a natural sweetness, but no sugar. It's a plant. And then they cut it and dry it. And that's what makes nutritional flake yeast. And it really does give you great B vitamins. But I also take Super B. Now, I don't take it every single day. I know when I need B vitamins. It's like God tells me I need B vitamins. Vitamin B6 plays an important role in the immune response. A recent investigation of healthy elderly subjects in a vitamin B6 repletion study indicates that B6 deficiency impairs interleukin 2 production. Now, we didn't get into the interleukins, but they have a part to play in that immune fighting, the macrophages and phages and, encapsulating the virus and poisoning it. Interleukin 2 is part of that process, and lymphocyte proliferation. Another study in HIV-1 infected patients found impaired immune responsiveness in patients with compromised vitamin B6 status. So B vitamins are really, really important to your immune system, as is vitamin C. It's vital for immunity. That's why when COVID came out, people said, well, what can I do? What can I do to protect my body from COVID? And I said, you need to take vitamin C. You need to increase Super D. We have the best vitamin D. It comes from the lemon rind. It comes from the lemon rind. It's a vegan vitamin D. And those are two of the things that I recommended. The Super C promotes leukocyte formation. Super C will give you 1,083% of the recommended daily intake of vitamin C. And sometimes I'll take 6 of those a day. 2 in the morning, 2 at noon, and 2 at night. It includes rutin and bioflavonoids, and that's the white stuff that Jillian loves to eat on the inside of the grapefruits. That's what bioflavonoids are. And they are really, really important in balancing the intake of vitamin C. So if you just have ascorbic acid or you just have vitamin C, you're probably not absorbing it. That's the beauty of Young Living. Gary knew all this. He did all his research. He did the Linus Pauling research on vitamin C and how it needed all its components, the rutin, the bioflavonoids, and the minerals to balance the electrolytes and enhance the effectiveness and absorption of the vitamin C. If you are under physical stress, and remember who causes the stress, nobody out there, we stress ourselves. If you drink alcohol, smoke, or take certain medications, these things can deplete vitamin C, and you should be supplementing. And then there's a study there. Life 9 is something else. It's going to help to populate the good intestinal flora. There are it improves colonization of good bacteria up to 10 times. And it has a way of adhering to the inside of the intestinal tract that helps implant that good bacteria to make your gut healthier. And we know that the gut is part of the immune system. All right, 90 days to a healthier immune system. So you want to start getting your immune system in order. It's imperative with all of the variant strains of COVID that are now facing us. We need to take a step-by-step approach. The first thing, of course, is that your wellness starts with becoming a member so that you don't have to pay retail prices for Young Living. And most of us are already members. If you want to know how to become a member, get with the person who invited you or get with me. Text me, call me, get with me, and I will help get you set up. Another thing you want to do is you want to get on Essential Rewards so that you get a lot of free stuff. You'll get discounted shipping, well, free shipping actually. You'll get your stuff every month so you don't run out. That's really important. You don't want to run out of lemon oil. You don't want to run out of vitamin C or multigreens. Heaven forbid I ever run out of multigreens. I don't think in 20 years I have ever run out of multigreens. I always have a couple of them back to back. And when one is half full, then I empty the other one and I fill it up to the top. I throw the container away and I make sure I order more. I've always been proactive that way. So get on Essential Rewards. That's a monthly program. And then here's a way to start. Get your Ningxia Red for sure. I've talked about Ningxia Red. Maybe get your Life 9 and maybe get a bottle of Inner Defense. And then month 2, get some Super B, some Super C, or some ImmuPro, or get some multigreens. Lemon oil, wood oils. Remember what I talked about forest bathing and how it increases the production of natural killer cells. Please listen to the YouTube video that I put out there. If you do not see it, ask me to repost it in the chat. And then you'll need more Ningxia Red. Make sure you have frankincense and you're anointing your head daily. You are kings and queens. You deserve to be anointed. Here's some healthy tips. Eat nutritious, well-balanced meals. Please clean up your diet. Get rid of the sugar. Do some kind of exercise 30 minutes every day, or be crazy like me and walk 4 miles every day. I actually got I did 4.79 miles and I got 10,181 steps in. My goal every day is 10,000 steps. And that's so that I can be ready for this next 68 years I got coming ahead of me, right? Also, enjoy the outdoors. I love nature if it's not too unbearably hot. Remember, I'm a northern tier girl. So right now, this time of year, I am outside almost all day. In fact, I got sunburn on the back of my neck yesterday, and I thought, how in the world? But then I walk every day, and I have a coat on. And this hasn't probably seen the sun all winter. And so sure enough, I am sunburned. So guess what goes on there? Lavender. Keep a positive attitude. If you're not in happiness, get happy. Get at least 8 hours of restful sleep per night and live in the moment. What was I saying about present time? Be in the present moment. Use present time, the essential oil blend. That's what Gary made it for. It will help you to energetically attach more deeply to the present time. Be grateful. You can't help but be grateful when you're happy. Have a sense of humor. Nourish your spirit. Laugh, live, and love. Here's a couple of resources: pubmed.org, discoverlsp.com. This blog no longer exists. Oh, yes, it does. That blog does exist. Excuse me. Let me go back. Page up. Yeah, this is the Young Living blog. Sorry. And join the Diamond Miner Success Team Facebook page if you're a member of our team. Okay. Welcome to Young Living. I'm going to look at the chat. I'm going to stop the recording.